Aloha, welcome to the 15th episode of the 10th series of the Temple of Surf, the podcast. Today with us from Australia, founder and shaper of Dead Kooks, Eden Saul. We discuss with him about shaping surfboard, surfers, and much more. Aloha, welcome to the show. Where are you today?
I'm in Lennox Head, Australia, kind of where I grew up and where I call home still.
How is it going now? Because right now it's winter time for you guys, right? So
it's incredible. We've had some of the best waves I've ever seen in my life anywhere in the world here the last couple of weeks. And I wasn't actually here for it. I was in San Clemente in California shaping and just got all my friends sending me videos of everything I was missing. But we've had beautiful waves. The weather is incredible. The water's still 20 degrees Celsius in the middle of winter and surfing in trunks. So I can't complain.
Fantastic. So I guess like it was an additional motivation for you to move from San Clemente back to Australia as fast as.
Yeah, well, I wasn't living in San Clemente. I was just out there working. I was just doing a batch of customs out there for the guys at Moonlight, and also some stuff with Matt Biolis. Just took on a new space called Basham's in San Clemente. So did some stuff for them, and then did a bunch of customs, which we do out of Moonlight in San Marcos, sort of behind Encinitas.
Okay, fantastic.
But yeah, so it was quick. I was rushing to get home as quick as I could, just because I was seeing the waves. And I'm like, get me out of California, get me home.
Exactly, especially now in California. Usually summertime is not like really pumping every day.
Yeah, I don't know. They didn't really get too much surf while I was there, so I was pretty happy to get home. And I love where I live. It was such a beautiful part of the world here. So
yeah, definitely, yes. And a surfer destination, between Hawaii, Australia, of course, America has its own places. Really, it's like the greatest top three, I would say. Now all the European surfers will be unhappy with me, but I'm sure at the end they agree as well. So many things I would like to ask you today, but the first question I ask everyone on this show is, what is the most important thing in surfing?
I think it's the community. For me, the best thing that I've got out of surfing and that I love the most is I've been able to travel the world and have like these incredible friendships and relationships in sort of like places on the other side of the planet. That to me it can be such a beautiful and fulfilling thing, but I think it's just sort of like the friendship and the community I've been able to build more than anything is sort of what I find the most fulfilling.
Yeah. And community, it's really like something very particular to being a surfer. Of course, like there are different kinds of surfers, obviously, like different kind of persons, right? But the spirit of helping each other, the spirit of supporting each other, the spirit of sharing something like so primitive, that is the contact with the ocean, right? Is that kind of glue us together in a way or not.
Yeah, like whatever it is, whether you're into, surfing or cycling or freaking golf, I don't care. But I think there's something in just having that community that I think is a really important thing.
Yeah, no, but I guess, yes, and now with everything, I don't want to take away from maybe cyclists or golfers, but I guess like surfing is an inclusive community.
Yeah.
Rather than maybe golfing is exclusive community. Already the fact that in order to play golf, you need to have very expensive clubs and go in very expensive places, right? What you can do. While surfing, by definition, like everybody can go and access the ocean and get into a wave,
it's been a lovely thing. I've been blessed to have make such a life of it. So it's a good thing.
What was the first important wave of your life? The one you surfed, not the best one you surfed, but the most important one, maybe.
Most important wave. Shit. I'm trying to think. I remember getting like lost surfing up at Snapper Rocks on the Gold Coast. My grandparents had a holiday unit up there. My dad took me out. It was a pretty good swell running. And like, if you understand the Superbank, like it's such a long wave. And I think I got a wave and then like just didn't know, like my dad sort of lost me in the crowd and I didn't know how to get back and just like kind of ended up getting, I remember just ended up being basically stuck down the beach for like hours, just kept doing laps because I was like, oh, if I just keep paddling around doing get another lap, I'll find my dad. And then I never did end up walking back to my grandparents' apartment. Like my mum's in tears, like everyone was freaking out. I was probably like 8.
Yeah,
That's probably like one of my earliest surf memories. And yeah,
you didn't give them like a good day that day, right?
I think it was I think my dad had an absolute shocker that day, but I don't know. We were pretty lucky. I don't know. That's probably one of my earliest surf memories. I'm not sure what like my favorite early memories are.
And what was the surfboard at the let's say at the early stage of your surfing experience? The one that you really wanted, or the one that you bought for yourself, or you got as a gift? That was
First,
least.
yeah, the first 2 surfboards I ever rode were some Bob McTavish shaped. I think they were actually knee boards that were my uncle's. So they're like, my uncle had some like some McTavish knee boards Bob had shaped in probably in like the early 80s. And I had those as like I was standing up on them, but they were kind of perfect to learn to surf on really because like it was like wide, short, heaps of foam. So that was what I first learnt on. And then first surfboard I ever got was a secondhand Mad Dog surfboard from Byron Bay shaped by Mike Platter. Had like a rad like flame spray on the bottom. I remember I was like working, like we grew up sort of in a bit of a rural area just inland from Lennox here. I was like working, like picking up macadamia nuts and mowing the lawn to like get enough cash to like buy this like secondhand board. So I still remember that one.
Well, and all those boards are still with you in another, or?
Absolutely not.
Oh my God. But like learning to surf on those boards, like it's kind of nice ones, right? Doesn't
Yeah, it was just, I know that like it's kind of crazy, but like, those guys, like Bob's still just around the corner from my shop. I see him pretty regularly.
Oh.
Really fortunate, like, when you just grew up with those were the people in your community, it was sort of, it wasn't anything too crazy. It was just sort of the norm in a way.
Well, yes, for me, like considering having Bob McTavish around the corner, for me would be totally crazy thing, right? Because
yeah,
I would be like, what? Such a legend, for.
Yeah, it's cool. Like even where I live here now, like Chris Brock lives just at the end of the street. And you see Greeno sort of every other day, and it's pretty funny.
I guess Byron Bay area, it's a great place to be, right?
Yeah, it is for sure.
Around surf celebrities like that only surfer know, by the way. So is the good thing is that, and so how was the transition? I know actually before we go to the transition, since we talk about waves, I want to ask you, what was the best wave of your life? Because just living that wave where you got lost is not like enough juicy to me.
I don't know. I honestly don't know what the best wave of my life is. My favorite place in the world to surf is Lennox. Like I live right by the point here, and I still think it's for me, it's one of my favorite places in the world to surf. Best waves I've ever surfed. I've had some really memorable moments in Fiji. I've had some cool days. I've had 1 or 2 really good memorable days in Hawaii. I'm trying to think. I don't know.
No.
I remember I took my dad to the Mentawais like 5 years ago, and we had a really beautiful surf. I was with my friend Victoria, and it was just me and her and my dad surfing this little like break. And I think there was just something nice in that, just like being able to like take my dad to the Mentawais and share some waves with like just a couple of like my dad and one of my good friends in the water with me. That was pretty special.
We go back to kind of community, right? That's a very inner circle of the community is your family. Eh?
Yeah. I don't know. I think like anything, it's like, I'm sure you could ask, I don't know, I could probably go and ask a bunch of pro guys like what their favorite surf moment is. And some of them will tell you about their career when they might also go, oh, it was like 3 weeks ago pushing my son in on this wave.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think sometimes it's more than just like the best wave you caught, because I've had some really special moments, but I think they're ones that stick out to me for sure.
You made me thinking, because like I asked this question for many pro surfers, but none of them replied for a reply about a wave that they surf in competition.
Yeah.
They always reply like a wave that they surf by themselves or by the family, or but
Yeah.
a wave that nobody has seen. And actually, it is interesting, because
Yeah.
I guess maybe in competition, even if you have a very, very good wave, maybe loses a little bit the value and experience. I don't know.
Yeah. Just different.
I mean, that one, when I interviewed some of the early guys in Hawaii, like Joy Cabell, for instance,
Yeah.
or Greg Knoll, they were telling me that basically it was very difficult for them to find somebody to go to surf with, because
Yeah.
there was basically nobody in the water, right? And
Yeah.
and so they told me one fun story. I think Joy Cabell, there was two things that was like really, really needed at that time. Like the first thing, it was somebody that is out with you for safety reason.
Yeah.
I guess at that time also the boards were like completely
Crazy. Yeah.
happy, you know. And the second thing is that to certify the stories that we were telling at the bar after all,
Yeah. You needed someone to witness it so people didn't think you were just talking shit.
it's
That's
fun.
funny.
It's fantastic that this only happened in 1967. It's like
Yeah.
And so, how the transition between like surfing and shaping was something that was already running in your family, or you just
No, my dad was a carpenter. So I guess I sort of like, he was always like working with his hands and building stuff. And so I kind of grew up around that. He surfed all the time. So I was kind of always at the beach. And then he had like some kind of cool old boards, like some fun old like McTavishes and some like beautiful like Sky twin fins from here in Byron. And so I kind of grew up around riding a lot of that stuff. And then when I was like 13, 14, Dick Van Stralen sort of like somehow I got like linked up with Dick, and he was like kind of making these crazy like epoxy twin fin performance boards. And it was like sort of at the time like Dave Raster was doing like shooting like Blue Horizon with like Andy and Jack McCoy. And so Dave was riding all these crazy boards and I was getting to see all this stuff. And I sort of just like went down this bit of a rabbit hole of like what I was interested in was sort of a little different than just like riding performance boards. And like Dan Thompson, like Tomo Surfboards, lived around the corner, and Tomo was like started to make some boards, and he was making these really refined twin fins. They were probably pretty crude at the time, but they still seemed really shortboardy and refined. And so sort of Dan made me some boards. I guess it kind of set me on this bit of a trajectory that was like interested in sort of a bit outside the norm. And then at a certain point, I just started like messing around and making a couple for myself, and one thing led to another.
How did it go with the first one you made? They were.
I've still got it. It's pretty grim, but it's not the worst board I've ever seen.
Okay,
it's definitely not the best, but it's not the worst.
Okay. So you started properly, let's say.
Yeah, like I got it like the first board. It was a little twin fin sort of thing. I like, really, I spent days shaping it, like mapped, kind of like put grids up all the rails, like counting passes, like was very methodical about it. And I think I had a guy, Sam Yoon, sort of showing me what to do, and it kind of like got me, I guess, from A to B, and it wasn't too bad.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not rushing to show anyone that board, but like it's not terrible. It's pretty bad, but it's not terrible.
Exactly. I mean, like it still does the job, right? It doesn't like.
Yeah, I haven't ridden the thing in probably 16 years, but I'm good.
Okay. And so, among all these people that were like that still are around you, who gave you the best suggestion or advice in the shipping bay?
That would be a guy, Stuart Darcy. I worked with Stu in his factory for a little while, and then was sort of like when I say work there, I was more just like he was like letting me use a room, and like more just like sit around in the corner and watch him shape, and I'd shape some boards, and he'd sort of come in and be like, maybe try it a bit like this way. And then like eventually when I set up my own first factory, I had a second room there, and I kind of, he came over and was working out of the shop for me, like not for me, with me there. And that was killer because I just had someone with just countless years of experience and knowledge that, you know, you could come in and sort of be like, oh, you know, you'd like, oh, what do you think about this fin placement, or what's this look like? And just having somebody with so much knowledge to be able to sort of like point you in the right direction.
Yeah.
You know, it was sort of just having like someone in a bit of a mentor space like that was so valuable. So yeah, we shared a factory together for a while, and that was really cool. And yeah, he's probably like was really important just to, I don't know, I think we seem eye to eye on sort of a few, you know, philosophies on things, and it definitely just having someone with knowledge to sort of guide you in the right direction was pretty invaluable.
No, yeah, definitely. You know, it doesn't happen every day to have like a mentor that sits with you like for a long time, right? I mean,
Yeah, like we were both just doing our own thing, working in separate rooms, but side by side, you know, it's just, if you ever needed, you know, it's like wanting a little bit of advice or like a second opinion on something, being able to sort of just like, hey, can you have a look at this and tell me what you think of this? Or, you know, pretty important.
from your experience, I started the interview asking you what is the most important thing in surfing. What is the most important thing in shaping?
The most important thing in shaping, I think, I don't know, I'm sort of about trying to keep things as simple as possible. Like in a way, like I'm big on like boards that just do what you want without having to like overthink it. I sort of want the board to get out of the way and let it just, you just surf and the board's going where you want it to go. I want boards that like generate speed easily. You know, like if you don't want to have to be working for it. I don't want anything that's going to be like overly like excited, just, you know, giving you too much feedback. I sort of like things to sort of fall away underneath you a little bit and just allow you to surf the way you want to surf and sort of go where you want to go.
Your production today is totally unshaped, or you using?
No, most of it's all off the machine now. I've had 2 shoulder reconstructions already as a result of a couple of surfing accidents and stuff. So I'm trying to kind of make it as easy as I can on the body, and also just trying to be able to, you know, put out a really nice, consistent product. I no offense to anyone hand shaping, and I'm glad you're doing it, but I just think where things are at right now, if you can put out a good quality product, I don't think there's anything lost by using the machine. And I just think it's a really valuable tool to be able to like, you know, replicate good surfboards. And at the end of the day, if people are getting good surfboards under their feet and they're still built, you know, in a really high quality fashion, I think that's important.
Yeah, you know, there is a whole story about between hand shape and machine.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that's pretty redundant. Like maybe some people might think that's like might have a shot at me for saying that. It's cool. I think it's important to be able to know how to use a planer and use your tools.
Yeah.
But also for any of those guys that think using the machine's easy, like go and try to get your files really tight and refined. And there's a whole skill in that too.
Yeah. I mean, it's not producing a surfboard unless you're doing some, let's say, crap product out of China or whatnot, you know.
Yeah, there's people out there talking about like, oh, hand shapes this, hand shapes that, and that's great, but I've seen some of those boards and they're trash. Like, just 'cause it's hand shaped doesn't mean it's a good surfboard. Like,
exactly.
Judge surfboards by whether they're a good surfboard or not, I think is more important than like how it was, you know, how it was shaped or whatever.
Yeah, because anyway, is not, I believe, that's what also is for you. Is not a brand. Is about a product, right? At the end, it's about a product that generates performance, that generates pleasure for whoever surfs, and it's not like, oh, I have a cool brand. I just put a logo in a piece of foam, and that's it, right? Behind it.
Oh, it's just like at the end of the day, like you try to not take it too seriously. Right? We're just making toys for grown-ups, but you want to be making the best possible product, you know, like I don't want to be wasteful, you know, and people are spending good money on these things and I want them to get the best product they can get out of it, to get the most enjoyment they can out of it.
Yeah, definitely. How do you see innovation in the surfboard industry? it's still possible to find innovation, or whatever has been discovered, and let's say today is just about incremental one, but not huge.
I'm not so sure we're going to see any like changes as drastic as like the thruster maybe anytime soon, but there's definitely some changes. Like I'm seeing some really interesting things happening at the moment with fin design. Like fins are just, there's such a massive space there that I think can still be tapped into. Some interesting stuff around materials. We've been doing a little bit of stuff with flax cloth, which isn't exactly, it's not a new material, but just getting a really nice feeling and feedback to it. Just trying to look for like really nice flex and durability. Sort of, I think that's more the interesting stuff that we're going to start really dialing in. I think it's sort of, like you said, incremental. I don't know if we're going to see any massive breakthroughs. It hasn't really, surfboards haven't changed that much in the last 30 years, really.
Sometimes, like, I mean, the foam one could be eventually a very revolutionary way if suddenly we can replace foam with some other material, maybe even more, eco-friendly.
Yeah.
But today there is no nothing in the radar that shows some development over there.
Yeah, like there's a few things going on out there in that space for sure, but I think on like on a big scale, they're not really, I haven't seen anything personally that I've been like mind blown by that's like standing up to, the sort of like what I'm wanting out of a surfboard.
On this topic, I was talking with Erika Arakawa out of Hawaii, and basically he was telling me that he's trying to innovate on the material, I think carbon driven, something like that. But the point he was telling me that the cost of the surfboard after it's like double than the price of a normal surfboard right now.
Yeah.
And so they told me like I will see very, very difficult, like unless he's a pro surfer or whatnot, client, somebody paying for the same surfboard, like maybe $3,000, $4,000, just because it's eco-friendly or a new material. So
yeah, for sure. I just had a friend over here, and we do a lot of cycling, and he does like triathlon, and we're looking at like some brand new bike by this company that's just come out. It's 48,000 euro for this bike. It's like biometrically measured and like 3D printed, and like the thing's insane. But he's like, like for us in Australia, I'm like, that's $100,000 for a freaking bike. And that didn't even include wheels, but, okay. But then like, I don't know, I guess there's a market for everything in that space, right?
Yeah. Oh my God.
It's not going to be for everyone though. That's the point. Like, it's the same, I don't know, it's sort of like that luxury fashion status in a way. It's like there's certain things that aren't going to be for everybody. They're not affordable. But then there's also a different argument of like on a cost per use thing. It's like if that surfboard that costs twice as much but lasts 5 times as long and can maintain the same flex and performance capabilities you want, then like that's actually a good investment, like, and worth it. But trying to convince the market and the consumers out there that like, no, you should be paying this much for this surfboard because it's, and then you better damn hope that your product stands up to it and doesn't, explode in a hot car or something, and after someone just spent however much money on it,
Exactly. No, that will be counter-effective, like you will have upset people at your door. Definitely.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Well, buying a bicycle with no wheels, it's like, I don't know, having...
Well, I guess a lot of people are selling surfboards without fins. It's probably not that different.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. Yes, you're true. For that reason, always fin on, glass on. It's the best.
I don't know. Like if you walk into a shop and buy an Almeric right now, I'm pretty sure they don't come with fins.
No, they don't. I was thinking, buy a DVD player and then you want to set it up and you don't have the cable and you have to order the cable and you get so upset. It happens to me quite often now.
Yeah.
But yes, true. Buying a surfboard without the fins. Yeah, but like I guess I'm a classic guy. Every surfboard that I order is as a fin on, glass on. It's a different. Because then if you have to travel with it, it's a problem.
Yeah, I don't know. I've got my systems pretty down for like my little twin keels, but yeah, I know it can be an absolute pain in the ass too. So.
Definitely. Airlines are not very supportive today.
It's getting harder to travel with boards in general everywhere, but yeah.
Do you have like collaborate? I've read in your website you collaborate with surfers, right? You don't have
Try to, yeah.
Yeah. How is it going, this experience?
It's good. Like I'm like an average surfer at best, I'd say. So like for me to be able to have people that I can bring in to like, you know, give me feedback on stuff and really work closely with those guys to develop, you know, a new model or something like that, I think is realistically the best way to put the best boards out there. There's always so much feedback that I think I can sort of like provide myself. And I think to be able to like work with some really high level surfers to be able to sort of put stuff together, I think is the best way to move forward.
You gonna watch the Olympics, or you're one of those guys that doesn't consider surfing Olympics?
Oh, I can't wait. I hope it's so like I really hope that it's absolutely maxing out, and like it'd be a real shame if it's like little shitty on the reef. I'd love to see it like 10 to 12 foot just heaving and see a final with like I'd love to see like one of the Australian guys do well. Like I think Jack Robbo's in it with a really good chance. I'd love to see Medina go hard out there. I'd also love to see like someone like Carly Vast, you know, trying to get a win, because I think that guy out there is unbelievable. So
it's a fantastic wave, you know, to see. After Tokyo is a fantastic way to see like the pro surfers being there, right? So good.
I love it. Like I understand that some people might not like it, and that's fine, but I think how cool it is to be able to have, especially in good waves. I think it's incredible.
Yeah, it does. It does. It's going to be a great show for sure. 100%. Are you working on any specific, but you told me at the beginning that you just come back from California. So all these collaborations, are you working on a specific project today, or like?
We've just finished putting a board together with, Victoria Vergara. We've just sort of been finalized that sort of new model. We've been working with her, been working with Vic for like 10 years. So it's, I guess, 10 years in the making, trying to get this board refined. And we've made a lot of different models. And she was just out here in Australia with me for like a month, going back and forwards on a bunch of stuff. And she's back in France now. So I'm just about to send her a couple over there just to like get final approval from on her end, and then we'll be good to go on those. So that's been a really fun project for me.
Right.
And then there's a new sort of model that we've been doing called the Thang, which is something I started working on, and then I make a lot of boards with Dave Rastovich, and Dave sort of grabbed a couple of those. We kind of call it the tadpole between us, but yeah, it's a funny little like round nose, tight-tailed, swallow-tailed swing fin thing, and it's sort of what I've been riding mostly and absolutely loving. So that's sort of the two boards I'm really fired up on at the moment.
Fantastic. Yeah. We're going to finish our interview with a short Q&A session. So I ask this question to everyone on the show.
No worries.
Answer with the first answer that comes up to you. Okay?
All right.
The best surfboard that you ever rode?
Best surfboard I ever rode. I've got an 11-1 Skip Fry Eagle that I got a couple of years ago, and I don't know whether there's maybe some nostalgia to it or the board's just magic, but I never am not smiling when I'm riding that board.
Wow, fantastic! It was a vintage board, or you got it new?
No, I got a new custom one off Skip.
Wow, fantastic!
Yeah. It was sort of a bit of a surprise. I didn't really even expect it was ever going to happen. I kind of like asked for it in jest one day and then found out he'd actually shaped it. And over COVID, I had a bunch of stuff in California and had to come back to Australia. And then I shipped, I had an old 1979 Ford Ranchero in California. I shipped it back and then shipped this skip fry back with it in the back of my truck. So when I got the container from California, I had this truck and a brand new skip fry in the back. It was
Fantastic.
yeah, it was pretty cool.
Ready to go to surf.
Yeah, it was pretty killer.
You met Skip
Yeah, I've met Skip a little bit. I was really fortunate to be able to work in San Diego for a while, originally at the Diamond Factory. And then when that all closed, I went, and Josh Hall was really gracious and sort of like let me work out of his spot. And where Josh is sort of just around the corner. Like Josh is really tight with Skip, obviously. And so kind of through those guys, and then, you know, that really cool core San Diego crew of like Bob Mitzvin and Hank Warner and Stu Kenson and stuff, they're all sort of right there. So I kind of, through them, got to kind of like, you know, hang with all those guys who are all legends in their own right, and Skip's sort of there. And yeah, pretty cool.
That's fantastic. Like you were saying before, you know, your neighborhood, you know, and then same thing, you know, like they're all...
Yeah, it's funny. There's those little communities, you know, like where just there's like little pockets, and it's sort of interesting how it sort of everyone congregates in those zones, or whether those zones sort of propagate community. I don't know what comes first, but
yeah. I don't want to get you in any trouble with the next question, but favorite shaper of all time?
Favorite shaper of all time? Shit. There's so many. I like so many guys I look up to.
Let's say Australian. Let's put it this way.
Favorite Australian? It's hard to go past Bob. Like,
yeah, it's true.
He's been through so many different phases and so many different like of surfboard design and of surfing. And the coolest thing with Bob that I love is just he's still just so full of energy and exuberance, and he's still surfing. He's still fired up on like making boards, whether, you know, he's making like 11-foot gliders or, you know, crazy ASIMs and stuff that he's like I've seen him messing around with lately.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to match Bob for his influence on surfing, but also just his like youthful exuberance and like stoke and passion for it.
Impossible to match a guy like that. Legend, of course. Like,
yeah,
I on the other side, both legend. Personal question: favorite song or kind of music?
Shit. I listen to so much different stuff. I guess when you're in a shaping bay by yourself for like hours and hours every day, you listen to everything. Oh, I don't know. Favorite song off the top of my head, and say like Beastie Boys' Sabotage is probably hard to beat.
Okay.
But there's some probably TV on the radio in there, maybe. I don't know.
Okay, that works. Favorite surf spot, if it's not a secret?
Lennox.
Wow. Okay.
Right. It's at the end of my street. That's why I live where I live. The few things are better than that to me. I love that spot more than anywhere.
Fantastic. Favorite surfer of all time?
Favorite surfer of all time? It's hard to go past Kelly, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean,
like Kelly,
champion, you know.
Dave, I'm really fortunate. Like Dave Rastovich for me was kind of hero status growing up, and now to be like able to make boards with Dave and like spend time with him is pretty cool.
What better than that?
I would say it's like between Kelly, Machado, and Dave. I'm not going to try to draw a line. It's those three.
Okay, it's good. It's a good choice. Nobody will disagree with you. The last question is a little bit unusual. I'd like to know your best relationship advice, where relationship can be romantic, relationship with the ocean, relationship with friends, with the surfboard. I don't know the way you want to answer.
Well, I'm single, so I don't know. I don't know if I got great relationship advice or any that you should listen to. Ask the guy that's been happily married for 30 years about that one.
I don't know.
I read somewhere it was just like, you know, just build a good name, you know, do what you love, and, you know, and work hard at it. You know, I think having some integrity about what you do and some honesty and doing it with passion, whatever that is probably my take on it, you know?
You know, the Eric Gordon, the son of famous Gordon and Smith,
Yeah.
told me like, do the dishes. And I said, like, do the dishes. Of course. Why? Because if you do the dishes, a woman will, first of all, appreciate you, but also you will learn about water dynamics, and it's good for stuff.
Yeah. There's also something, I'm sure there's like some stoic philosophy in that too, like don't be above doing the menial tasks. Like all the little things add up. I think it's important to, take pride in your work, from the smallest details to the biggest things.
Exactly.
And not overlook the small details.
Never. Now, yeah, but then we go back about having a product, no matter what, or you were saying, once you do the design, that they go then into the machine, if those design are not perfect, then the product, the result doesn't go what you want. So
yeah, I'm sure I annoyed the shit out of the guys that work with us in the factory, but like I get pretty fussy over really small things, but I think it's the little things that really matter,
yeah.
Obviously the big things matter, but it's the little things that matter too. And I think it's probably like with everything in life, like the little things are the things that add up,
Yeah, definitely.
You got to pay attention to the details.
With the suggestion that you gave me before to let things go a little bit,
Yeah.
You said it.
Yeah, there's a line on that. If you can't be too obsessive, otherwise, I don't think that airs too well.
Otherwise,
and that's probably something I got to figure out. I definitely obsess over the details a lot, but yeah.
But I guess with the guys on the shipping bay area, if you bring them like a box of beers, like they will be happy and they will forgive you.
Yeah, it's hard. Like I feel like, I don't know, maybe other guys, maybe other shapers might have a different thing, but like it'd be really, if I leave a board, like when I finish a board, I like put it up on, like I stack it away. If I leave a board like on my shaping rack and come back in the next day and look at it, like I'm always going to find something to like fuss around on. It's at a certain point you just got to like, okay, it's done, put it away. Otherwise you will just constantly find something to like.
I don't look at it anymore. I just like,
yeah, you got to move it away. Otherwise,
yeah,
you can just keep scratching.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. Thank you so much for being with me on the show.
Not a problem. Thank you.
Very soon. Ciao.
Take care.
Hi, it's me again. I hope you enjoyed our today's episode. If you want to know more about us, please follow www.thetempleofsurf.com and all our social media. Mahalo!